Well, thank you for the introduction, and hello, everybody. Again, my name is Sean Montgomery. I'm Director of Systems Engineering and Sales at TP-Link. My group is focused on ISPs and service providers in general. So today, Wincom was nice enough to ask us to kind of present our Omada solution. Because a lot of people don't understand who TP-Link is and what products we might have. So I thank you for the opportunity to present today. So let's just jump right on in this. TP-Link is a little bit different than your other vendors that you might be dealing with today. The main difference is we are the manufacturer. So we create everything ourselves. So we have our own molding plants, our antenna plants, power adapters. We make our own connectors. We are completely vertically integrated, and we build the product from start to finish. What we do source, of course, is silicon, right? So we source tier 1 silicon from Qualcomm and Broadcom to create our products. But at the end of the day, we are the manufacturer. We control the supply chain. And as we've all felt the last couple of years, supply chain constraints have hurt everybody, but they have not hurt TP-Link as much as they have hurt other vendors, from what I understand. We've had, of course, some hiccups, but it's more on actual logistics, not on supply chain. One of the other unknown facts about TP-Link is we have about 40% market share worldwide when it comes to Wi-Fi products. So our size and our volume, plus being the manufacturer, is why you see us so competitive on price. So I just want to have that as the underlying statement here, is we are the manufacturer. Being the manufacturer also allows us to really stand behind our products. So, most of the products we're going to be discussing today have a limited lifetime warranty. So we stand behind our production in our factories and our products with that warranty. So let's kind of get into this. Spectrum of products. I would say most people that know TP-Link know us for that Soho router up there in the top left-hand corner, right? The WR841N. That was the #1 selling router on Amazon for quite some time. It was a sub $20 router, but I can tell you, if you bought that $20 router 5 years ago, it's still working today. And that's really how we've grown our business. We've grown our business because people have bought our product because of the price point, maybe not knowing who we were. And then when they needed another router or another PoE switch, they went back to TP-Link because the one they bought 5 years ago is still running. So I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of the portfolio, because we are in a lot of different areas, right? So again, we're known for our small routers that you see, but we all have a whole line of smart home. We do a ton of switches and managed devices. So just to give you an idea, and I know this next slide is an eye chart, but just to give you an idea, that's how many switches TP-Link currently manufactures and maintains. Now this is, of course, both unmanaged, managed, stackable, so this is the whole switch category. But I wanted to give you an idea that we pretty much have every port configuration that you might need in your day-to-day business. Especially these little 5-port, 8-port PoE unmanaged switches. We almost can't make those fast enough. Another thing to note is our 5-port gigabit switch is the #1 selling switch in the world. So it's a great price point, and it just works with that lifetime warranty. So kind of get into today's topic. We're going to be talking about Omada. So Omada is our cloud SDN solution. We also, just so you know, we do have standalone switches and routers, and we also have ISP products. So we have whole home Wi-Fi managed via TR69 or proprietary management protocols as well. But let's kind of get into Omada. So what is software-defined networking? I think the easiest way for me to explain this is it really is the separation of the control and data plane. So what I mean by that is we have removed the control plane and put that in a centralized location. So you can manage your whole network through one pane of glass, one interface, and this is you're managing your access points, your switches, your routers, all through one interface by simply creating profiles and pushing policies. So if you need to, create a VLAN for, the R&D or R&D service on a AP, you can push it all the way through all the switches, all the way to the AP with a single click of a button. So I think, again, going back to my definition, it's really, separating the control plane from the data plane to provide easier management and troubleshooting and configuration. So our Omada system really has, I guess, would say 4 parts. We have the controller side, and the controller can be either hardware, software, or very soon in the future, cloud-based. We have our access points, we have our switches, and then we have our routers/gateways. So those 4 parts equal the Omada system. So with those 4 parts, there's really, not too many scenarios that we cannot work in. I will tell you that, our sweet spot is really 500 access points and below. And that is the majority, 99% of all deployments are 500 access points and below. TP-Link is not one for, let's say, a arena or, let's say Texas Stadium, but schools, hotels, RV parks, any hospitality, retails, especially offices, restaurants. We're very large in restaurants, so very, very easy to manage, simple solutions for all of these, all of your customers. And then, kind of giving breakdown kind of more on what the products are. Again, routers, core switches, PoE switches. And then if you look at our access points, it really is, we have 4 flavors, let's say, of access points. So your general office indoor access points, ceiling mount or wall mount. Looking at hospitality, you have your guest room devices. So these are very simple in-wall PoE powered, a AP per room kind of deployment. And then, we also have the outdoor units as well, and they all work together as a system. So I think that is key there is, again, this is a system that you're deploying. And I think, and I'll probably say this a couple more times, just give us a shot. I think we've won a lot of business over the last 24 months because of other suppliers' supply chain issues and people giving TP-Link a try. If you just give TP-Link a try, I think you'll like it. Your customers will like it. We have support, so you can talk to live engineers. We have support engineers in California. So I think, we provide a very good solution at a very good cost point. This is another I love matrix slide. So this is really a matrix of all the Omada-based products, and I will provide this presentation to Wincom after the webinar because it has some links in it that are useful to understand what devices work with the system and what systems they work with. So let's talk about the controllers. So we're going to go through the 4 parts of the system. So we're going to talk about the controllers. Really, there's 3 different controller types. There's cloud-based. So cloud-based, we're going to have a complete, what we're calling CBC, cloud-based controller. It is supposed to launch this summer. So that means no hardware or software on your side at all. It would be completely hosted by TP-Link. There will be a license fee to that. I do not know the pricing to that at this time. We are about to launch that, and we'll have those details very, very soon. The second is on-premise software. So on-premise software, we provide you the controller software for free. You host it. You put it on your Windows machine, your Linux box. I've got customers that are hosting this through AWS, so basically a cloud-based controller that they're hosting. But again, the cost is free. Up to 1,500 devices with the software-based controller. And I did not mention on the cloud-based controller, it's unlimited. But on the software-based controller, it's up to 1,500 devices. And that's really due on to your PC or your Linux box resources. So that's really a suggested number by us. But if you had some monster machine, you could definitely do more than 1,500 devices. And then on-premise hardware, we have the OC300 and OC200. And the way that they are basically built is the OC300 supports up to 500 access points, the OC200 up to 100 access points. And again, they manage all the different products. So this is more of a matrix style of what I just said. Again, the hardware controller, your cost there is just the hardware. There's no reoccurring license fee. You are just paying that one-time hardware controller purchase, and then it is, free from there on out. The software controller is again free, but you have to put it on a PC or AWS or wherever you like to host it yourself. Now, both of those solutions have cloud access, right? So you can access the controllers from anywhere, but you're actually hosting the hardware or the software yourself. And then, as I mentioned, the cloud-based controller. The cloud-based controller will be completely hosted by us. There will be license fees. I hate to say it, I don't know what those are at this time, but there will be license fees, and it's going to have a couple of additional features. So with being cloud-based, it's going to do automatic channel selection. It's going to do auto transmit power adjustment for your APs. So real-time AI management of the Wi-Fi network from a channel and power adjustment perspective. And then it's also going to have a zero-touch provisioning aspect. So you can have the ability to scan a QR code or serial number, put it in the back end, and then when that unit comes online, it will contact and download its configuration. So a true zero-touch provisioning on the cloud-based controller. So speaking more on the on-premise controller, again, they work exactly the same way, hardware versus software. You do have access to it from anywhere. You just log into the Omada website, you put in your TP-Link ID, and it'll show you all the hardware or software controllers that are managed by that ID. And then you simply launch that controller and have management of that network. We also have the Omada App. So the Omada App gives you insight into the controller from a management capabilities. It is limited to what it can do, but it is a nice quick view into the network and can do some small changes. You're not provisioning a VLAN with the Omada app, but you can look at SSID, look at clients, look at usage, look at things like that. The other thing that I have not mentioned is you don't need the controller either. All these devices work in standalone mode. So you can think of, if you took my first statement of what is SDN, SDN is, dividing the control and the data plane. But if you don't want to do that, all these devices work in standalone mode as well, right? So you can deploy a couple of access points and a switch. You don't need the controller if you don't want to. So I just want to make that clear. Again, on the hardware controller, there's two different versions, the OC200 and the OC300. You can see, again, the OC200 is 100 APs and less. and the OC300 is 500 APs and less. And you can see the client recommendation of those as well. So again, a nice low cost, very easy to implement controller. I'm not going to walk through installation and configuration today. I really wanted to expose the group to the product line itself. And then, like I said, we have engineers in California. We can help with any of your installs and deployments, when and if needed. I think, we've designed the system to be very simple and easy to use. We're in the same business as you. We like to deploy hardware, not get a support call, and deploy more hardware in 5 years. And I hope that's your goal as well, is to support your customers when needed, but you hope they don't call with a support call because everything just works, and then move on and upgrade them to a higher speed tier, hopefully in a couple of years. And then the cloud-based controller, again, is coming out this summer and is completely going to be hosted by us. You're still going to log into our Omada site. You're just not going to actually be talking to any local controller. Everything will be done through the cloud. And then, as I mentioned before, cloud management with the Omada app. Very simple to use, very highly rated app. The information you need is there. And as I said, advanced configuration is not there, but management and the visibility is, which helps. When you're out on site and customer calls you, you can quickly look and get access to that network. And then the last piece is, again, is it also can act as a standalone manager for your network as well. So let's talk about our access points. So TP-Link has a ton of access points. As I stated before, we are 40% of worldwide market share when it comes to Wi-Fi worldwide. And with that, we've really been able to bring that expertise to the business class side. So if you're looking for high density scenarios, we have that wide area coverage, outdoor, and then of course in-room. We're seeing a ton of in-room devices being sold because of student housing and MDUs, really focusing on Wi-Fi as a service. So Wi-Fi now is a upsell for these apartment buildings and student housing, and it's no longer. It's almost your fourth or fifth utility, however you want to look at it. Wireless is now that important. And with that being said, Wi-Fi 6. So Wi-Fi 6 is now out. 6E, which is a 6 gigahertz version, our spectrum is coming out from us very soon. So we're going to have we're probably going to launch about 4 or 5 new access points in the next few months. So be on the lookout for those. But today I'm only focusing on what's available today for purchase. So with Wi-Fi 6, of course, you get better capacity, improved performance, and greater efficiency. I think one of the best features of Wi-Fi 6 in my mind, at least for most end users like ourselves, is that target wait time. So with Wi-Fi 6, if you have a Wi-Fi 6 client, it knows when to listen. So it's saving battery life. Because it's not having to listen all the time for traffic. It knows when something will be scheduled to be sent to it and listens at that time. So, I think that is one of the best advantages of Wi-Fi 6. So Wi-Fi 6 ceiling access points. So we have the EAP 660, EAP 620, and EAP 610. If you've seen some of these, some of the initial feedback where they were large, we are having version 2 of many of these devices come out, which reduce the size. So there's going to be a smaller size access point, just in case you're already aware and have seen one. We are coming out with smaller access points for the ceiling and the wall. These are our Wi-Fi 5 based ceiling mount access points. So EAP 245, EAP 225, and the 115. EAP 245 is a great all-around access point. Those are very, very popular. We sell a ton of those today. very mature, very reliable product. Because to me, stability is key. You want people not even to think about Wi-Fi, right? It just works. And the EAP 245 and 225 are two of those products. They also support mesh. That's one thing I did not talk about. So if you use a controller, you can actually mesh these access points together. You can daisy chain 3 in a row. We're not going to let you add that 4th unit, but we'll allow you to make multiple mesh. So especially if you're trying to do a parking garage, or maybe a building that is not hardwired over to an outbuilding, let's say like a little workout building or a pool house, you can simply mesh these devices together, just add power, and you're up and running. And then the outdoor access points. So the EAP 610 outdoor, we should have samples now. EAP 225 outdoor and 110 outdoor. The 225 outdoor is a great product. I use that actually in my home and outdoor area. I love it. It's a solid product. And then the end walls. So the EAP 615 is our Wi-Fi 6. The 235 and 225 wall plates. The 235 adds an extra Ethernet port at the end of the day from the 225. So really good solution for your MDUs and student housing. We also do a lot of, with the controller, and I'm not going to go into too many details, but we can do, MAC authentication bypass. We support Radius. We're getting ready to add PPSK, so personal pre-shared secret. So we are doing a lot of the MDU features and functionalities in the controller being released, either today or very, very soon thereafter, to support the MDU student housing environment. So let's kind of talk about switches now. So those are our access points that are supported by the Omada system. On the switches, just kind of walking through the switches in the main part, we do have 10 gig switches. A lot of people don't understand we do have 10 gig and multi-gig, so the 2.5 gig standard and 10 gig switches. So if I go into a little more detail, we have full 10 gig fiber switches, both an 8-port and a 16-port. We will have a 24-port coming here very soon. This new unit, the second unit here, is a nice little bitty 4 10 gig PoE++ switch with 2 gig or 2 SFP+ ports. We've been asked for a configuration like this for a while. I'm glad that it's coming. It's supposed to launch in June. And then, we do have the 10 gig and 2.5 gig devices, because most Wi-Fi 6 APs now are coming with a 2.5 gig interface, because Ethernet is now the bottleneck to some of these Wi-Fi APs. So this switch will allow you to connect to 2.5 gig and then give you that 10 gig uplink back to your closet. I'm not going to go through all the switches that are supported by Omada, but I will give you links at the end of this presentation. So you can see there's a link here. So you can just click on that link and you'll see what's managed by Omada. And then if it's not managed by Omada, it's either an unmanaged switch or a smart switch that is a standalone. And then the last is our routers. So TP-Link only has a couple of routers today. We're actually introducing a few more this summer. We're going to have 10 gig with SFP coming this summer. But right now, the ER605, we sell a ton of these. They're little bitty, small, 5-port routers, but they can do so much. They have multiple, you can configure multiple WAN links on these devices. You can do port-based VLAN. So they support a lot of different functionality in a very small package and at a great price point. They also do VPNs, and again, the Omada system can configure the VPN from, all the way through the entire system. So if you're doing multiple sites, Very easy to set that up through the Omada system. And here's last couple of slides for me. Again, Omada controller compatibility. These are the two links. So you see we have Omada Cloud SDN. This is the hardware and software-based controller. And then we have a link that shows what is going to be supported by the cloud-based controller. I think you will see both of these merge, but as we launch the cloud-based controller, there will be limited products that are supported by that at initial launch, and then you'll see more being added as the software gets updated on those devices. So again, I think those two will merge at one point, but right now they're separated on what is supported by which platform. And then join our community. Our forums, our knowledge base is very strong. You know, we manage and we watch that. But, you know, if you're a Wincom customer, TP-Link customer, you have access to my team and to engineers as well. I think that is, you know, that is needed, especially if you're going to try a new product. I want you to understand you have access to my team, and we will help you get up and running. I think, you know, again, with some of the supply chain shortages we've seen other suppliers have, I think, you know, with us having product and having engineers, we can get you up and running, and hopefully you'll have a great experience and continue to purchase TP-Link. And that is all I have.